Welcome to Are You Fucking Kidding Me? A thoughtful parenting podcast. The show that takes you from diaper disasters to the legendary teenage eye roll. I'm your host, Clementine Lord, here to guide you through every stage of parenting, from toddlers testing your patience to adult children testing your Wi-Fi limits. Parenting is a wild ride, and no matter your child's age, you'll always find a moment where you think, are you fucking kidding me? Hey, welcome back to Are You Fucking Kidding Me? The thoughtful parenting podcast for folks who love their babies more than life, but occasionally daydream about living in a soundproof bubble, alone, with snacks. Speaking of which, if you haven't already, hit pause, go grab yourself a snack or a drink of choice. Seriously, this is a judgment-free zone. Tea, wine, LaCroix, a sad handful of goldfish, whatever fuels your soul and keeps you from crying during Bluey reruns, I'll wait. No, seriously, go! All right, now that we're hydrated, fed, and possibly emotionally fragile, let's dive into this week's topic, newborn bonding. Or you could call it the time-space continuum of getting to know your baby and getting your baby to like you while you slowly lose your sense of self. We're talking baby snuggles, skin-to-skin sorcery, and sensory overloads. But before we get into the good stuff, I have to give a massive shout out to the listener who emailed me a novel of questions. You didn't just send questions. You sent a goddamn manifesto of new parent energy. You had feelings. You had the bold courage to ask, am I doing this wrong, even though my baby isn't even here? Which frankly makes you my new best friend. Thank you for listening and reminding me why I do this. Besides, we all know I have my own desperate need to monologue into the void. I also want to update you all on what the hell is happening with my podcast schedule. Fucking life, that's what. I'm struggling to keep up, you guys. From kids' activities to good friends passing away, this has not been an easy year for me. So I have made the executive decision, because this is my podcast after all, to make this podcast an every other week gig. So thanks for hanging in there with me while I navigate my own damn life. All right, so let's talk about skin-to-skin contact. Skin-to-skin contact is the MVP of early bonding. And let's be honest, one of the only parenting techniques that really doesn't require a YouTube tutorial. If you have been anywhere near a birthing class, a new parent, or a postpartum recovery room, you've probably heard the phrase, skin to skin, usually whispered in a reverent tone like it's an ancient spell or some kind of magical elixir. And quite honestly, it probably is. Because skin to skin is not just something hospitals recommend because they like seeing new moms half naked. It's a legit superpower. It lowers cortisol. That's a stress hormone, not a Marvel supervillain. And it helps your baby regulate temperature, breathing, heart rate, and basically tells your baby, hey, welcome to the world. I've got you. Now, if you're still not convinced that skin-to-skin contact is actual magic, let me tell you a story that I will always get chills from. This story is true, I will add. It happened in Australia on March 25th, 2010, when Kate and David Ogg's premature twin son Jamie was born at 27 weeks, and initially he was declared deceased. Doctors did everything they could, but his tiny little body just couldn't stabilize. The doctors told the parents there was nothing more they could do. But then the mom, because mothers are built different, asked to hold her son. She took his little body, tucked him against her bare chest, and just held him. Not because she thought it would change anything, but because she wanted him to be close, to be loved, to be touched, even if just once. And seriously, guys, this is where it gets wild. After 2 hours of skin to skin contact, 2 hours of this mother whispering to him, rubbing his back, letting him feel her heartbeat, Jamie started breathing. I shit you not. His heart started beating again, right there on her chest, after being declared gone. Can we sit with that for just a second? Science called it a rare case. I call it a miracle with a side of oxytocin and primal connection. The mom called it what it really was: love. Now, this isn't to say skin to skin contact is a replacement for medicine or miracles or modern neonatal care, but it is a reminder that our bodies, our skin, our voices, our warmth, they fucking matter. That even when we feel powerless, holding our babies close can be the most powerful thing we ever do. Honestly, sometimes I feel like this works with my teenagers. So if you're sitting there in spit up stained pajamas, wondering if cuddling your baby for the 7th hour today counts as parenting, holy shit, it absolutely does. You're not just snuggling, you're grounding them, you're regulating them and giving their tiny system a map to calm, to comfort, and to life. And if anyone ever makes you feel like that's doing nothing, just smile and picture that mama in Australia bringing her baby back to fucking life, one heartbeat at a time. Because here's the real deal. Skin to skin, it's just you. Your skin, your warmth. There's no gadgets, no apps, no fancy Montessori equipment. Just a bare chest, a sleepy baby, and a vaguely damp couch pillow. So let me just paint a scene for you. It's 2:40 in the morning. Your baby has to be fed. They're doing that newborn thing where they refuse to be put down because apparently their mattress is made of lava. Yes, the floor is lava starts early, folks. You're sitting on the couch, boobs out, wrapped in an old robe that's absorbed every bodily fluid known to man. You peel off their onesie, tuck them against your chest like a little oven mitt, and boom, they settle. It's like fucking magic. Science. Really, it's like witchcraft, honestly. And it's not just for them, it's for you too. That oxytocin surge, that's not just sweet, it's stabilizing. It makes you feel like maybe, just maybe, you can survive this newborn thing. Like you're connected. Like your body still knows what it's doing, even if your brain is lagging 3 fucking hours behind. You don't have to wait for the right moment either. Skin to skin isn't reserved for a golden hour post bath cuddle or those serene Instagram posts with a baby wrapped in linen and some eucalyptus in the background. No. You can do all of this while binge watching Love is Blind and eating cheese puffs straight from the bag. Dads, partners, non-birthing parents, this goes for you too. Skin to skin isn't exclusive to the milk makers. Throw that baby on your chest and enjoy the same benefits. You are a human baby blanket. Congratulations. Pro tip: if your baby's feeling fussy, overtired, or generally existential, try some skin to skin before pulling out the big guns. Sometimes they don't need rocking or shushing. They need you. The real, half-dressed, overtired you. Your warmth, your heartbeat, your smell that's a mix of dry shampoo and panic. Also, hot take, skin to skin is for younger babies. But honestly, I think it works on toddlers too. I remember when my kids were toddlers, they'd still occasionally climb into my lap, yank up my shirt like they were trying to start a lawnmower, and flop across my chest. It was chaotic, it was sweaty, but you know what? Somehow it still worked. So if you're sitting there wondering, If this is doing enough, no, it is. It's primal, it is instinctual, and it's free. And it just might be the thing that saves your day. So, next, I'm going to talk about newborn sensory development, which I know sounds like something you'd need a PhD or at least a laminated chart to understand. But it's actually just your baby's adorable primal way of figuring out who the hell you are and why you smell like coffee and a little bit like desperation. Here's the thing, newborns are born into this world basically blind. I mean, they can technically see, but it's like their whole visual experience is being directed by a drunk cameraman. Everything's blurry, shapes are vague, they're drawn to high contrast things, which is probably why your unwashed hair and sleep deprived face are the most interesting thing in the room. But smell? Oh, smell. Their noses work. Babies are tiny, soon to be chubby bloodhounds. From birth, they can recognize your scent. In fact, research shows that they can sniff out your breast milk from across the room, which is equal parts adorable and fucking terrifying. Like, imagine being so sensitive that you could find a nipple by nose alone. That is a skill. And partners of the non milk producing parent, I'm sure you're pumped, or at least wished you had that skill. And that scent, it's not just your deodorant or the faint whiff of a baby wipe, it's you. Your pheromones, your unique, unfiltered momness. You are home base, and your baby knows it. If it's a two dad household, it's the same thing. Your baby knows your smell. And don't even get me started on voice recognition. Your baby has been eavesdropping on you since the womb. We've already talked about this in a previous episode, but they know your voice better than anything else in the world. So when you speak, even in a whisper, their heart rate slows. Their little bodies chill out because your voice, it equals safety. Now here's the part that no one really prepares you for. It doesn't matter what you're saying. It could be reading Shakespeare or yelling at the dog to stop licking the baby's head again. Your baby just wants to hear you, your tone, your rhythm. Your messy, exhausted lullabies, they want to hear those too. Heck, even if your lullabies are off key, they care. So talk to them a lot, like full running commentary on your life. All right, we are folding laundry at the laundromat. This is a onesie that may or may not be clean. We're going to pretend it's clean. Don't judge me. They don't care what you say. They just want the sound. You're their favorite podcast. Also, babies are tactile little sponges. They crave closeness. They want your skin, your fingers, your arms, all wrapped around them. It's all part of how they learn to feel secure. And this doesn't mean you need to give them constant stimulation like they're a lab rat in a baby Einstein experiment. Just hold them. Rock them, rub their backs during a bottle. That is sensory development. No flashcards are needed. And if you're sitting there like, what if I'm doing all of this wrong? What if I'm not stimulating enough? Let me reassure you, your very presence is stimulation. You could be a literal statue with a heartbeat, and your baby would still be like, ah, yes, mother, my lighthouse, my squishy throne. Now, of course, there are ways to enrich their sensory experiences, like using different textures, having tummy time, giving them time to look at your face, or switching up your voice like a bad improv actor just for funsies. But you don't need to reinvent the wheel. You just need to show up. So, yes, your baby is low key studying you like a lab project. And you are their favorite sensory experience. Your scent, your voice, your skin, your chaotic snack breath, and all. It's all their favorite. And you're doing great. So, I'm about to step into one of those parenting gray areas that sounds like it should be no big deal, but like most things in parenting, it turns out to be a whole emotional can of worms. Let's talk about tickling. Now, tickling is one of those things that people assume is universally delightful. It's in cartoons, baby books, and those weird wind up toys that say, coochie coochie coo, and vaguely threatening voices. And tickling is supposed to be this innocent, giggly form of connection. And sometimes it totally is. Your baby might squeal with laughter when you wiggle their fingers at their belly or pretend to nibble their feet. They might crumble into a giggle when you kiss their neck or make a monster noise while grabbing their thighs. In those moments, tickling can feel like joy, like pure, mutual, giddy joy. But here's the twist: tickling can also feel really out of control. It can be overwhelming and it can cross a line into too much, too fast, and too intense. And unlike other types of play, babies can't really opt out of it. They don't have words to say, that's too much, or I don't like that, or what the hell is this? So instead, they arch their backs, they stiffen up, they flail. Their smile turns into a grimace that kind of looks like a laugh, but it feels off. That's the moment we need to pay attention to, because tickling is weird like that. Laughter is involuntary. Your baby might laugh while also hating it. That doesn't mean that they're into it just because they're laughing. It just means their body is reacting. And if that feels confusing, it's because it is. Now, this isn't about making anyone feel guilty. We've all done this. We've done this with our children, with our nieces, our nephews, with the neighbor kid. I don't know. We've all tickled a baby a little too long, thinking we were killing it, only to suddenly realize that we were one wiggle away from a full-blown meltdown. And that's parenting. It's a minefield of good intentions and occasional flops. The point here is, let's get in the habit early of checking in with our kids' bodies, even when they're tiny, because really that's how we teach consent. That's how we teach my body is mine, even when they don't have the words to say it yet. So what does that look like with a baby? Watch their face. Notice if their limbs go rigid. If they turn away or fuss or stop making eye contact, take a pause. Try a different kind of touch. Hold them. Rub their back. Narrate what you're doing so they learn that communication is a two-way street. And listen, this doesn't mean tickling is off limits. Far from it. It just means we use it with a little more awareness, a little more care. Maybe we turn it into a check-in game like, is this too much? Do you like that? No? Okay, we stop. Even if they don't understand the words, they'll start to understand the rhythm. Also, there are about 900 other ways to make your baby laugh that don't involve poking them in the ribs until they can't breathe. Try silly faces, weird voices, pretending to sneeze. Also, babies think sneezing is hilarious, and you don't even have to touch them at all. At the end of the day, the goal isn't to avoid tickling altogether. It's to treat it like all baby play, an exchange, not a one-way performance. You're not just trying to get a reaction, you're trying to connect. And that means listening to what their little bodies are saying, even if they're not saying it out loud. Then there's bath time. You don't need to build some magical bonding shrine out of lavender oil and wooden toys from Scandinavia to have an amazing bath time. And let me say this again, loud and clear for the people in the back. You do not need to be an enrichment goddess to bond with your baby. Seriously. You do not need a Pinterest-worthy bedtime routine with 14 affirmations, a sound bath, an organic cotton sleep sack woven by Scandinavian grandmothers. You don't need a bath caddy full of eucalyptus and Instagrammable duck toys. You don't even need to enjoy playtime. You just need to fucking show up as yourself. Messy, tired, imperfect, and fully human. So let's start with the bath time. Sure, it can be a soothing spa experience, or it can be a high-stakes wet wrestling match where your baby pees on you mid-soap. Either way, it's bonding. Why? Because bath time is sensory gold. Warm water, skin to skin, the sound of your voice echoing off bathroom tiles, you're helping your baby feel safe in a new environment. You're rinsing their little rolls and singing songs while trying not to drop them like a wet watermelon. That is connection, and that is trust. And even if it's chaotic, even if they scream like you dipped them in lava instead of 98-degree water, you're still building something: consistency, comfort, reassurance. One lukewarm bath at a time. Then there's bedtime, the sacred, sometimes rage inducing transition between chaos and silence. This is when all the bonding advice hits you like a freaking freight train. Read to your baby, sing to them, make it a peaceful experience. Oh, for fuck's sake. Meanwhile, you're over here and your baby is fighting sleep like it's a personal betrayal. But even through the bedtime battles, the rocking, the pacing, the please just close your fucking eyes, I will buy you a pony moments, this is where real closeness is forged. The way your arms feel, the way your heartbeat sounds, the smell of your skin, the weird little hum you make without even realizing it, these become the cues that tell your baby it's safe to let go. Bedtime doesn't have to be perfect. You can read to them Goodnight Moon with one eye open and still be the center of their universe. And you can screw it up. Accidentally overstimulate them with tickles, forget the sleep sack, use the wrong pacifier. It all still counts because you're trying. That effort is the language of love. And then playtime. Ugh, can we just say it? Sometimes playtime with babies and toddlers is really boring. Yes, babies are cute and squishy and smell amazing, but you can only pretend to enjoy shaking a rattle or reading Brown Bear so many fucking times before your brain leaks out of your ears. But here's the truth. Playtime doesn't have to be performative. It's not about entertaining your baby like you're hosting an episode of The Wiggles. It's about being present, letting them explore your face, narrating your coffee routine while they kick around on the floor, making eye contact, mirroring their babbles. You are their favorite toy. You don't have to do anything extraordinary. You are the magic. So, yeah, bonding isn't always snuggles and warm fuzzies and Instagrammable moments. Sometimes it's giving them a bath with one hand while wiping your tears with the other. Sometimes it's accidentally falling asleep mid-bedtime story. Trust me, I've done that one a few times. And sometimes it's flopping on the floor next to them while they chew on a remote, and you count that as sensory activity. It all counts. Every eye roll, every deep sigh, every whispered lullaby, every bath that ends in a puddle on the floor. Your baby sees it, and they feel it. And they're bonding with you through all of it. So give yourself some damn credit. Seriously, you don't need to curate moments. You need to just be in them. All right, we've made it. We've survived the skin to skin, the sensory overload, the tickle debates, and the existential drama of bath time. But here's what I want to leave you with. Bonding isn't a milestone, and it's really not a fucking checklist. It's not something you either nailed or failed. It's a living and evolving relationship, and it happens in the quiet, messy, wildly unphotogenic moments. It happens when your baby settles into your chest and finally stops crying after hours. It happens when they hear your voice from across the room and do that slow motion, wobbly head turn. It happens when you blow raspberries on your baby's little belly and they look at you like you are the funniest person who's ever lived. Even when it feels like you're just going through the motions, even when you're running on cold coffee and existential dread, which I have done my fair share of times, you're still showing up. And your baby, they feel that. They don't care that your hair is unwashed or that your bedtime routine got interrupted by a poop explosion. They care that you're there. So please, if you take anything from this episode, let it be this. You're bonding, you're connecting, and above all else, you are fucking enough. Thank you again to the listener who sent that amazing email halfway across the world to me. He inspired this whole episode. Seriously, keep the questions coming. Keep the stories coming. Hell, Send me your weirdest baby moments. Seriously, I live for them. If this episode made you laugh, cry, or at least feel a little more normal, do me a favor. Send it to a friend who needs to hear it. Or better yet, rate the show, leave a review, or just yell, "I love you!" into the void. Trust me, I'll feel it. Until next time, go snuggle your baby, maybe try to hug your teenager, and remember, parenting is really fucking weird, but you're doing great. And if you're not, there's always snacks and this podcast, and that will make it all better, at least just for a few minutes.